Hello everyone. Today I want to show you a super simple workflow that can save you a lot of time and mental energy in Lightroom. You might already be doing something like this, and if so, that's great. What I'm going to show you is, as I said, super straightforward, but it can make a huge difference, particularly if you're new to photography and editing and Lightroom in general. Editing doesn't start when you open the file, it begins when you set up a reliable, neutral starting point for your RAWs. Now, RAW files are flat by design, and that's completely normal. They're captured that way so that they retain the maximum amount of information, giving you far more flexibility and dynamic range when you start processing the image, ultimately helping you produce the best possible final result. Now, every camera, every shoot, and in my case, every client is a little different. And that's why consistency saves mental energy. By creating a neutral, reliable baseline, you know exactly what you're starting with each time. And this isn't about applying a look or a style to every image. And of course, you can create presets for that if you like. But here, it's about setting the stage, giving you a dependable foundation, saving mental energy and letting you focus on the creative parts of your workflow. You may have noticed that Lightroom comes with a whole bunch of presets installed, but it really pays to create your own. It's fun, and Lightroom doesn't know exactly what you're aiming for in your images or what your style is. Now, before we go any further, in case you're just beginning your photography journey or your journey into the world of learning processing and using Lightroom, you may be thinking, hang on, what are presets? Well, simply put, a preset is a saved set of adjustments that you can apply to a RAW file with a single click. Think of it as a starting point, a neutral, reliable baseline that reflects how you like your files to begin before you do any creative editing. So for example, in my case, I have presets for each different camera that I use, my Canon R5, my R5 II, my R10, and even my drones. Drone images often have high contrast between the sky and the foreground, so I've got a preset that lowers highlights and boosts shadows slightly more than I would do for, say, with my R5, just to create more balance. You can also set up presets by client or by shoot, and that's the beauty of presets. For instance, one of my industrial mining clients prefers images with a lot of clarity, which is effectively mid-tone contrast, giving gritty, crunchy images. When I import their files, I apply a preset that gives me a consistent baseline every single time. The goal here is simple. You want a neutral, reliable baseline. This is your foundation. It's not a look preset, it's a starting point that makes editing faster, easier, and more consistent. Alright, let's take a look in Lightroom, and I'll show you how to create a preset for your RAW files so you can get the same dependable starting point every time, whether it's by camera, by client, or by shoot.
So as you can see, I captured quite a large number of images of the red kites circling through the skies in Marlow when I was back visiting my parents at Christmas. Now, I've shot these using the Canon R10 with the RF 100 to 400mm lens, and I also used the 1.4 times extender. Now, we're going to work on image number 308, so we go from the library tab to the develop module. And the first thing that I always decide when applying a preset, or I should say, sorry, creating a preset is, am I creating a preset based on a particular shoot? In other words, a whole series of images, such as if I've done a shoot underground at a mine, then I will apply a preset for one particular client that likes to have a very crunchy, very contrasty images, so I will apply almost an excess of clarity for their particular images. But in this case, I'm not applying adjustments for a preset for a particular client or a particular shoot. I'm creating a generic preset for, in this instance, the Canon R10. If you come over to the presets panel on the left-hand side, you'll see that I actually already have a few of these, and you also see the pre-packaged Adobe ones. But let's create a new R10 preset. So the first thing I like to do, basically, because I'm applying this as a generic camera preset, I don't want to adjust the temperature or the tint, because that will vary from image to image. I certainly don't want to adjust the exposure because, again, that will vary from image to image. The temperature and tint I would apply to a client-specific preset if I've worked under the same conditions throughout the day. But in this instance, I'm actually only going to make a very few set of adjustments that gives me that good starting point for my raw file from this particular camera. Now, again, I'm going to base my settings on my taste, my preference for the files that I want to see coming out of the R10. Your experience and your settings will most certainly be different from mine, and that's the whole point of it. That's the whole fun of it. Your taste style is going to differ from mine and from the next person's and so on, and that's why it's so useful to be able to customize these settings. So the first thing I like to do is come into the Develop tab, and I bring my highlights down around about 15 points, and I push my shadows up around about 20, 25 points. Then I come down to my whites. I bring those up around about 15 points and drop back my blacks around about 10 points. That, for me, is a reasonably good starting point. Let's just go up to the eye icon, and it just raises that raw file. The next thing I come down to do is I don't touch texture, but I do add a little bit of mid-tone contrast in the form of clarity. Now, for the R10, I find it's a crop sensor camera. I find that 15 points is pretty good. It gives me that extra little bit of crunch that I personally like in my files. I don't touch dehaze, but I do add some vibrance. Now, vibrance targets the undersaturated colors within an image whilst protecting skin tones. So I raise that to around about 15 points. Now, I perfectly recognize there are no skin tones in this image, but it just gives me a subtle boost to the undersaturated colors. I then do a global adjustment of 5 points by basically adding 5 points of saturation, and that saturates every tone within the image. Now, so at this point, you basically can add any of the following adjustments that you wish to the image. So you can increase the tone curve, use this to increase or decrease your exposure, your shadows, your highlights. You could put a gentle S-curve on if you wanted a little bit more contrast. This is not something that I tend to do that often in my presets, but you can certainly do so if you want to. The next thing you can do as well is come down to detail. I don't add detail as in raw, I don't add denoise to my images because it's going to vary. Bearing in mind I'm shooting auto ISO, so I'm not necessarily going to want to denoise every file with one preset. So this is something I tend to apply on a case-by-case or file-by-file basis. But what I do tend to do is add 80 points of sharpening. So I just come up to 80 points, and that gives me a generally reasonably good overall sharpening. Because it's on a case-by-case basis with a masking, I can then come back later on and mask it if I wish to. But obviously you can't do that in a generic preset. So I find that adding 80 points of sharpening gives me a good basic overall starting point, and I can certainly tweak it later on. I'm just trying to save time here, really. Then coming down to lens corrections, I do like to have the remove chromatic aberration and the enable profile corrections on when I'm working on my images. So I have that on as part of my preset. Now, again, you can apply transform and any of the other settings that you wish to as part of the preset, but that's as far as I tend to go. I certainly don't add auto transform, for example, because I do find that it can be a hit and miss affair. It's pretty good, don't get me wrong, but I find that sometimes working with ultra wide lenses, such as my 17mm tilt shift or the 11 to 24, instead of actually straightening verticals, it can twist my whole file sideways. And again, that's something I prefer to do on a case-by-case basis. So believe it or not, that is actually it for my presets for a generic camera preset. So how do you then save that? Well, it's quite simple. You come over to the left-hand presets panel, click on the plus button, create a preset, and you can simply entitle it. So I'll call this one New R10 and create. And now if I come to my user presets, you'll see that I've got a new R10 preset setting already made there. And that's a really quick way of getting a good starting point for all of your raw files for each individual camera that you own, or if you wish to set up a preset for a particular shooting situation. Okay, so we've created the preset. Now, how do we use it? Well, if I just go to reset down the bottom here, on the right-hand side, we reset the file to its original state as we first brought it into the develop module. Come down to, if I pretend these were closed, come down to my user presets on the left-hand side and just come to new R10. And just by clicking on that, I've now applied all of those adjustments that I made with a single click, making it much easier to have a good baseline starting point for your processing. Now, if I go back to the library module and I come down to import, click on import, and let's say I wanted the London images in December. There's a lot of video here as well, but the London image that I took for my R10 review, if I uncheck them all for the moment, and I'm just going to click on, let's just say, pick an image, doesn't really matter which one, does it? Let's say this one here of the uprights at the O2. If I click on that and say, yes, I wish to import that, click on import. Before I actually import it, what I can do is if I come up to the top right-hand side, apply during import, I can say, I'd like to apply one of my user presets, which is the new R10. Now, this was shot with the R10 as it happens, so if I apply that and import it, it will now import that image with that preset applied. So we click on the image, we go over to the develop settings, and you can see that it's already applied all of those settings to that image. If I reset it, you can see what it looked like before. Not a huge amount of change, but you can see that it's actually basically applied that preset, and it gives me that easy starting point. So that's a very good way of doing this so that you could use it on all of your files as you bring them into Lightroom. So coming back to the image of the red kite circling the skies in Marlow, now that we've applied our basic preset, what I'd like to do is just finish off the processing. The first thing I want to do is actually to crop the image. So click on the crop icon. I do have the little lock enabled, which means that it will maintain the crop ratio, which is handy because in this instance, what I'd like to do is actually transform it from a landscape image to a portrait crop. I do that by pressing the X key on the keyboard, and that transforms the crop orientation. Now, just dragging in, if I hold down the optional Alt key, it drags in from all corners simultaneously. And that just enables me to get the image looking more how I'd like it within the frame. Let's position the bird about there. That's how I like it. That's pretty good. Okay, so coming back to the adjustment sliders, I do actually want to denoise this image. As I mentioned before, it was shot at ISO 2500, shooting at a shutter speed of 1/2500th of a second, coincidentally. Now, I have denoised this before, so when I click the denoise button, it will do it automatically, but normally it takes about 10 to 15 seconds to denoise your image. Let's remove the noise nicely, and it's a much smoother looking image. Let's go, whilst we're here, we can now just tweak the masking so that it only applies to, the sharpening only applies to the bird and not to the sky, and that's pretty good. Happy with that. Now, the last thing I really want to do here is just to increase the shadows on my bird. If I do it as a global adjustment, of course, it's going to apply it to the sky as well. So let's come up to the masking tab, and I don't need that. And let's select our subjects. Now, it's going to detect the subject fairly easily in this instance. I still have the last settings on, which I don't want. So, where is that? Reset sliders automatic, sorry. So let's just reset that. Now, it's selected the bird. What we're looking to do is just increase the shadows on the bird. That's pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. I do like to take it a little bit further than just to see where it's affecting the shadows. So I drag it up more than, obviously this would look ridiculous, but it just gives me a good idea to see where it's affecting the bird. Now let's just bring it back down. So in other words, I take my slider too high and then adjust it by coming back down to dropping it down and seeing what works for me. That's just my preferred style of working. So clicking on that, let's just have a look. That's pretty good. I like that. Now, I might subtract that from using a brush, just from the birds, from the kite's fore area here. That's better. That looks a little bit more natural. It's the fore area. I mean the torso, obviously. That's looking more natural. I think that's pretty good. Now, in this instance, I don't have to do any other adjustments to the sky. It was a fairly clean sky. The last thing I'll really do, coming back to my adjustment sliders, is actually just to add a little bit of a vignette to it. And that's pretty much all I want to do now. So come down to the effects at the bottom, and post-crop vignetting. I do want to basically just draw in the corners very slightly. So 8 points. I mean, it's barely perceptible. I don't even know if you'll see it on a YouTube video, but it just does draw the eye in just that little bit. There's before, there's after. Actually, yeah, no, that is actually quite visible. So let's just drop it back a little. 7 points should do it. And there you go. I think that's my finished red kite image. And yeah, pretty happy with that. That's pretty good. Now, just to contradict myself, I realise I haven't actually finessed that mask properly. So whilst I didn't notice it at first on screen, it's possible that if I printed this where I didn't remove the sky from the mask, there's a slight change in the blue tones here. So let's just come up to the mask. We do want to show that overlay in this instance. And you can see that by showing the overlay, the shadow mask is affecting the blue in the sky. So I want to subtract that simply by using the select, subtract, select sky. And that should just clean up that mask for me. Now, clear away the overlay, and that's better. So that's just giving me a nice finished image.
So that's my basic preset workflow. As you can see, the adjustments themselves are actually very simple. There's nothing particularly dramatic happening here. And that's really the point. What this preset does is, as I mentioned before, give me a consistent, reliable starting point for every raw file that comes out of this particular camera. Now from there, I can make the creative decisions, cropping, masking, local adjustments, changing the exposure, but without having to rebuild the same foundation every single time. And when you're working through hundreds or even thousands of images, as I was in this case from this shoot, that consistency saves a surprising amount of time and mental energy. Photography is complicated enough as it is. Anything that removes a little friction from the process is usually worth doing, in my opinion. The important thing to remember is that your preset will almost certainly be different from mine. Your taste, your cameras, the brands you're using, and the type of photography you do will all influence the adjustments that you prefer. And that's exactly how it should be. So if you're using Lightroom or Adobe Camera Raw and you haven't tried creating your own presets yet, I'd really encourage you to experiment with it. Start simple. Build something that reflects your own workflow and refine it then over time. Now, I'd actually be really interested to hear how you approach this. Do you create camera-specific presets, as I do, or client presets, as I also do? Or do you simply prefer to start every raw file completely from scratch? Please let me know in the comments down below. I always enjoy seeing how other photographers approach their workflow. And, of course, if you found this useful, please give the video a like and consider subscribing to the channel. I'm sharing more videos like this where we look at the thinking behind photography workflows and not just the gear. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.